Hi, and welcome to MCFM Academy Talks, where we discover all about our courses, our instructors, and learn a little bit more about the activities that we're sharing with you to upskill and embed those skills in your organization. I'm here with Gayatree Dipchan today. And Gaia, how are you?
I am very well. I'm enjoying summer in Norway.
Oh, it looks absolutely divine. I've been following your posts. So tell just for the our learners that are coming on or learning about the academy, do an introduction to yourself and then we'll just get really stuck into what you're offering our learners.
So I'm a behavioral psychologist. I work with clients on two sides. One side is the therapy side where we look at cognitive reframing, looking at how you use the information that you have, how your past informs your present, and how you create the future you want. And then I take all of that, this is 25 years of doing that, into different spaces now that goes from coaching executives to working in the corporate world and working with those who want to shift mindsets and change behavior.
Oh, that's absolutely incredible, and I know we've been working together for a number of months now. Thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm so excited that we're able to bring a behavioural approach to facilities management and to mobilisation and transformation, because we work with people, but without understanding people, the dynamics and things that happen. Um, some projects can be quite challenging, so I'm so excited that we're able to give this take on teams and everything else that you're going to talk about. I'm not going to steal your thunder, so let's make a start and let's just start with the foundation course that we have.
Okay, so one of the things that we did in our course is that we broke it down into three levels. So we have the foundation, we have intermediate, and we have an advanced program. Ideally, it would be good if clients or whoever is choosing to do this take themselves through each level,
Yeah,
simply because it builds on the information and it allows individuals to take that information and apply it in real world settings. So when you and I started to do this, we talked about there's process, there's technical understanding that everyone brings in. So if you're doing project management, for instance, and we're talking about foundations, let's start with foundations. If you're doing project management, everyone knows about the PDCA. We know about root cause analysis. So these are things that you learn book sense, right? And I'm using book sense
mm,
academically. But
yeah,
one of the things that I thought to bring in on a behavioral side of it was understanding how mindset influences how we look at problem solving, how perception and reframing can influence our emotional response in spaces. So no one goes into any space without a massive background of their own understanding, as well as going into environments where there's dynamic shifts happening. So you're dealing with, say, for instance, anywhere between 3 to 10 people at any given time, and you have to manage not only what's happening in that space, but also your responses to those people, taking into account your own responses to whatever is happening in your own personal life. Yeah. So if you
yeah,
think about you having to deal with all those dynamics, plus whatever your organization is expecting you to do for as a consultant or
yeah,
in that space, there's a lot of things happening.
yeah.
Yeah. So problem solving is not just surface level. It's actually taking into consideration aspects of yourself and what do you bring to that.
Mm,
Um, One of the things that I really talk about in this particular course, this foundational course, is understanding how fixed mindset differs from growth mindset. And fixed mindset is when we don't take into account a lot of things that are dynamic around us and how it
yeah,
evolves. Whereas growth mindset, you sit back sometimes, and it's important to sit back. A lot of times we have leaders who just keep moving,
Yeah.
you know, and it's about KPIs. And I get that it's about output, it's about timelines, but it's also about understanding that there are a number of different people working in similar situations with different perceptions of what's happening that's on the table right now. So, growth mindset gives you that understanding of how do you relate to people in problem solving, and how do you
Okay.
bring all those insights into one space that allows for what's the word I'm looking for feasibility and sustainability in problem solving.
Okay. So if we bring this into a mobilization, for example, so we've got leaders who are leading each of the different work streams. So take, for example, the operational team, and we've got to mobilize the operational team, and it could be that we're transferring members into our organization. So in that respect, as a leader of the operational work stream, if I've got a fixed mindset, what's that gonna? How's that gonna impact on the people that I'm bringing in? And what can that type of leader do to transition to a growth mindset, which then benefits the team that the new people that we're taking on?
It's like you're thinking about it like, so a fixed mindset person would bring people into the team expecting them to follow the patterns that they are setting.
Hmm.
So it's a lack of understanding that you're bringing people who are already in some level capable
Hmm.
of facilitating something that you need,
Yeah.
right? With that, you're also bringing a level of expertise and knowledge and understanding that they have brought in from different spaces, right? So, say for
Yeah.
instance, you have a leader who has that fixed mindset, and you bring in five different people.
Yeah.
Five different people have different insights. If you don't take that into consideration, you are not, you kind of like saying, okay, it's like, is it round hole, square pegs, round
Square
holes?
peg round. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you're creating that, and then there's going to be friction, there's going to be tension, there's going to be lack of teamwork, there's going to be a lack of cohesive interaction that allows for sustainable problem solving.
Mm.
Now, to take a leader from fixed mindset to growth mindset, it means that that leader needs to be aware of who they are themselves. They need to understand how they perceive themselves as a leader and the roles that each individual have in their team, and how does that role or even that that expertise influence what's happening in the full dynamic.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, organizations look at KPIs, they look at
Yeah.
output, they look at the financial sustainability
Yeah.
of very particular projects. So you
Yeah.
still have to take that into consideration. A good leader allows for growth by ensuring that the expertise that they're bringing in allows each individual the ability to be creative, the
Yeah.
ability to have the safety to be able to share. A fixed mindset leader will not allow that because they
Yeah.
themselves get so caught up in someone not following what they are saying. And it
Yeah.
causes friction because it comes to a point where I can't work with you
Yeah.
on both levels.
It's quite interesting because some of the issues that we can have is that we have operational teams, and they could be anywhere in the world. If especially if we're doing a mobilization, which is a multi-country mobilization, and these teams, let's stick with them because it's quite an important part of the process. Um, they will have the site knowledge. Some of them will have been there for many years and understand the nuances of how a building works, how certain things change. And granted, yes, we're bringing in a solution. So the transformation is, okay, this is what we've sold to the client. This is the service and this is how it's going to be delivered. So there is going to be some change management there. However, what you're saying is that if it's a fixed person here that's managing, that's leading and mobilizing that, they're not going to take into consideration the value and the input from the team. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. And it's really important, like when you're working in teams, to understand that you're building something together.
Mm,
It's a shared language that you create. That's why cohesive teams work really well.
mm,
If when I go into workshops, one of the best things I love, I mean, one of the things I love doing, I should say it like that. One of the things I
yeah.
love doing is the moment that people start walking into the space. I love standing back and looking to see how that interaction is. Because you can have a leader who is not the real leader of a team, because cohesiveness is demonstrated by how people interact with each other. So
Mm,
you can actually see the quietest person can actually be the person that keeps the team together. And that's probably the person who facilitates the best problem solving
yeah.
processes within that, because there's trust, there is safety in that dynamic. So it's very interesting, um, just from an observer's point of view, going into spaces, that
Mm,
sometimes the person who has the job title as the supervisor or the project leader may not necessarily be the person that um, the team trusts to be safe,
mm.
to share and be creative, and to actually have the best problem solving dynamic.
Yeah, and a leader with a growth mindset would recognize and
Right.
actually facilitate and create the space for that person to thrive. But
Yeah.
a growth leader has to, I think, have the confidence. It's like you said, have that confidence and know themselves and be assured of themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm so excited about the foundation course for our learners. I really am. Is there anything else you want to say about that, and then we'll move on to the intermediate?
I just want to talk about the learning outcomes, and I'm just going to
Yes,
go
of
through it
course,
because
yeah,
I think it's really important that people understand that while there's a course, it's also allowing you to take what you learn into your space and practice it. And then, furthermore, I think one of the things that's offered in the course is the ability to interact with me and with you and other
yeah,
subject matter experts that allow you to build on what you know.
yeah,
So, for this particular course, one of the things we look at is the different type of problems that you can encounter and different approaches that can be suitable to each type of problem. So, again, we're taking the theory, the breakdown of the theory, and we're asking you to go into your spaces and learn in the most practical, experiential way.
yes,
We're taking the models and we're allowing you to break it down with everyday challenges. So we're not asking you to go into a textbook. We're going to ask you to go into your space. We're looking to see how you identify your own mindset. And it's not about testing, it's not about psychological testing, but it's really about understanding your perceptions of yourself. It's a lot of self reflection, but it's also allowing you to ask someone else. Like me talking to you, Maxine, after how many months, and saying, Maxine, is there anything I can do differently to make this work?
mm,
You know, because a lot of times we go to these tests very easily and say, oh, well, I'm this, this, this. But the reality is, you may be this to yourself, but then you're presenting yourself in the world, and everybody's like, that doesn't, it doesn't mesh well, right?
yeah,
And that
yeah,
is important for problem solving, right? That's psychological safety.
mm,
And what we're asking people to do is to really apply consistent and repeatable frameworks, because you learn from practice, you learn from creating a habit. And it's very small changes that you can make. You don't have to go out there and say, I'm fixed today and I know I have this massive growth mindset. The reality is, it's about micro shifts that allow for bigger impact.
I
So, yeah.
love that. I just absolutely love everything about this series, and there's going to be more coming down the line. So one of the things when you were explaining for the learners there about the course was that it's not just a course; it's just the beginning, and embedding the skills. It's like you've just said it perfectly. It takes time, and that's going to be a quote, that micro shifts. That's going to be. It's incredible. Gaia. So just remind our learners, what's the reference for when they visit the academy? What's the reference for the first one?
Um, Max, to be really honest, I haven't noted it.
It's okay. So I know it's MCFM 00.
101?
No, it's 202.
Sorry,
MCFM
Max.
00202.
I have not noted it. I have
I
not
should have
noted.
I should have put the list up in front of. Oh, actually, hang on, I've got them here. I should have brought this out in the beginning. Just a sec. So for our learners, the foundation is so it's called Foundations of Problem Solving, and it's MCFM 00201. So that's the foundation. Okay, so should we move on? We've got time to move on for this session, to move on to developing problem solving strategies.
Mhm.
So that's MCFM 00202. Let's talk about that. And that's the first intermediate
Yeah,
course.
yeah. So I want to just talk. There's a few things in there that that we covered when we were looking at it. I think there's two or three courses within there, um, and we covered critical thinking, what logic, reasoning, and how how we how we process information, and what it's really giving the learner an idea of looking at thinking in terms of brainstorming, allowing different perceptions about taking into account there are different moving elements and factors that influence what is happening in a problem. It's not just your perception of a problem. It's also about not just using the technical tools. As I said, we go into
Mm.
spaces thinking, oh, well, I understand SWOT analysis, I understand root cause analysis, I know how to do a fishbone diagram, and I think I put all those things in there in the most basic level. But what I think really makes this part of the course important, it's about understanding how to apply this. And this is where the psychology comes in.
Mm.
I bring in something called cognitive bias awareness. I bring in the idea of what creative problem solving can look like using those tools like SWOT analysis. And then I talk about psychological safety and how team dynamics impact diverse problem solving.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
So I want to just tap into something a little bit further in, and I'm just looking for my notes. Right, cognitive bias awareness. Why is this really important? Cognitive biases come from the understanding that our entire existence is built on creating different lens for us by which we see the world. So this is just pure psychology now. From the time you were born, you have been witnessing, modeling, understanding humans. And every single interaction, whether conscious, as in you and I speaking, or subconscious, like the birds outside that I am seeing in my periphery, is being stored somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Okay? And let's take that into our five senses now. What we see, what we're smelling, what we're doing, all these different things are still being stored, right? Even though I'm speaking to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Every interaction being stored means that it creates a perception. So at every point in time, it's informing the lens by which we understand the world. Yeah? Now bring
Yeah.
that to a problem. All these things influence how we see a problem, how we relate to a problem. So I don't know if in your world, but sometimes we have clients who you're thinking, but this is an easy fix, right? But they are seeing like a world, a mountain of different issues. And you're like, but no, 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 no. It's not like that. And it's simply because of the lens by which we see the world. Cognitive bias, and that's the best way I can explain cognitive bias. It
Yeah.
is automatic, it's unconscious, and it affects everyone, regardless of the experience that you bring into a space. And what our course does, it helps users to understand their own cognitive biases, to kind of break it down. And the
Mm.
nice thing about it, I keep saying this to everybody, is that we offer the one on one, the physical interaction with the coaches or with the experts in there, so that it's not just a behavioral psychologist that you ever speak to. You're going to get different points of views from experts who understand your field.
Mm.
I understand the behavior of why you do what you do, but there are people who can. But you can say to me, but Gayatri, you don't understand the technical side of it, and I'll say, yeah, but I can bring this person in, and let's work together to ensure that there is a balance in how you are problem solving.
Mm.
You know,
Yeah. So bringing it into the real world, what you've just talked about, a typical um, problem could be we haven't got information, or there's certain things that are missing, that mean we can't pull together the whole picture.
yeah,
And what I love about the problem solving courses as well is that we give the learners the tools to whatever the situation, because it's going to be different industries, different types of clients. They could be financial, they could be manufacturing, it could be residential, property managers. So what I love is that it caters for no matter where you are in the facilities management space and environments. It gives you the tools to actually build and provide a solution and work towards a solution in a way that is practical. I love
yeah,
that.
yeah. And just to bring it a little bit more, so that I'm very visual. So if I should give an example, in logistics, we can anchor on outdated processes to slow innovation. That's something. That's something that hold on, confirmation bias can create. Just anchoring on something can slow down innovation. In finance, it can lead to poor risk assessment because you've got your own biases playing, and that creates fear, right?
Yeah.
In the health or in social care, confirmation bias can easily skew a diagnosis, or it can skew a client or a patient's diagnosis. That's unhealthy. That's a
Yeah.
risk, not just for you, but for someone's health, for their life. In leadership, it can affect the cost. It can affect how decisions are made. It can lead to poor investment decisions. It can lead to the wrong people being put into spaces where you think that, oh, this is better because I have this interaction with them, as opposed to looking at the bigger picture and
Yeah.
getting insight from others.
Yeah. That's absolutely, it's so it's really really valuable, and I know that there's, even if it's a beginner in the space of mobilizing transformation, or the sales team, everyone can actually benefit from what you've created here. Speaking of creating, talk about the creative problem solving. So that reference for our learners is, when you go to the academy, is MCFM 00202.1, because it's part of the 3 intermediate courses that we have on the psychological approaches to problem solving.
A lot of times people think, Maxine, that creativity is for artists, but creativity can actually be a very deliberate cognitive process. And this is where I think we can actually look at it in terms of breaking down mental patterns. Um, I think you know me well enough to know I'm so visual. So, like, even when I'm speaking to someone, I actually see patterns forming in front of me visually, right? And that helps me to understand what is happening and how I can help that person brainstorm. So, it's how we look at these patterns, it's how we reframe challenges that's in front of us, and how we generate innovative solutions. So when we reframe problems, we're actually discovering with the right team. Remember, we're going back to working as a team sometimes. We
Mm,
are actually able to discover hidden opportunities. People bring wisdom. That's why growth mindset is so important. People bring wisdom from spaces that they've been before. Creative problem solving allows us to think broader than the space we're in. We think
mm,
about you and I coming from two very different industries, yet we're working in one space. What I bring into the space and what you bring into the space, we create amazing things.
mm.
And it's looking at it like that. We also talk about lateral thinking, and that's where I think a lot of people don't think about the ability to explore unconventional solutions. So if any of my clients should ask me one of the first things I do, I tell them go walk in nature. Start
Yeah,
every single day with a walk because it just means that you get every single system in your body moving, which helps you, for me, to think about so many different things on a different level. If you're stuck in an office, and this is just at an individual level now, if you're just stuck in
yeah,
an office, Maxine, sitting in front of a computer, looking at patterns that is on a screen, you are forgetting that you have the ability to visualize if your eyes are closed. And what
yeah,
you visualize when your eyes are closed, and this is not overthinking, it's really just putting things in perspective based on your understanding, taking different resources and pools of information that you have stored somewhere in here. Remember, we spoke about all these different lenses,
yeah,
and taking that and bringing it into that space where there's a problem. And lateral thinking, in its broader concept, it allows you to have every individual in the team do this.
mm,
And then we talk about in this particular course with creativity and understanding deliberate process, we also talk about brainstorming. And one of the things I think I do in there is I give you practical brainstorming methods that you can take into your team. Again, it's not just me telling you, these are the theories, this is what you can do. There's also an element of examples where we bring in practical tools and then we're saying, go out there, see what you can do with it. You need help, we're still around.
yeah,
And
yeah,
again, you've got the resources of different people from different industries coming in to help you.
yeah. I was actually thinking what we should probably do is bring a team in to show our learners how it works in practice. I've got a team in mind. I've got a team in mind who I'm actually mentoring at the moment. So I think for them, let's let's do an academy talk session where we actually do a bit of a practical.
I
So I'm just
love
putting on the
that.
spot there. Yeah, I just think it brings it to life, and I love. I'm using love a lot today because I've just been in this whole experience of, I think we should do it. We
Let's
should
do
do
it.
it
I mean, it's
to give
so
our learners just a feel, touch, and I'm doing this because you have to be able to touch and feel. In facilities, there's lots of things that we do where it's intangible. The service is intangible. It's all about the people and what we bring, and sometimes you'll never see it. So bringing it to life is so important.
I think so as well. And I like the fact that you say sometimes we think of it as intangible. But I think that when you get to that place where you're enjoying what you're doing, everything becomes tangible because you're actually feeling like purposeful and
Mm,
motivated. And I in the advanced course, I am looking at the time, but in the advanced course, we actually talk about it a little bit more. Why motivation is important and why creating psychological safety is important and what environment that you create, how that informs safety for anyone working there to actually do to actually engage in sustainable problem solving.
mm. I think that is the beginning of our next Academy Talk, Gaia. And what I would want to say is, so we've covered up. So for this session, we've covered off the foundation, which is the foundations of problem solving, and some guys pulled out some really key elements in there, and then developing problem solving strategies, creative problem solving. So we've got quite a few more that we'll cover off in our next session. But for this session, Gaia, thank you so much for your time. Do you want to just share? You have the last word for our learners because you're the instructor. This is your space.
Do you know something, Max? It's nice that first of all, psychology is being seen now to be integrative into different industries. So the academy itself is allowing different expertise to come in and have an interaction that we don't see in a lot of spaces. And for learners, I think it's important to have a broader picture because I think a lot of times when we finish university or we're finished the learning part of our life, we forget that there's so much more out there. So for learners, what I'm saying is be acquainted with how things work in different spaces. Because where I started was in human resource management in an oil and gas company. Where I am now is enjoying working as a consultant for so many different industries and not stuck in a human resource management role, but allowing myself to be in different spaces to still have that interaction. So learning is not limited to just one space. That's what I would like to leave learners with.
Thank you, Gayatri. Everyone, this has been a session of MCFM Academy Talks with Gayatri Dipchan, our behavioural consultant in MCFM Global Academy. Until next time, Gaia, let's keep this going, and we will speak again very, very soon. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Max.